It's 1944. 3 weeks ago, Operation Overlord started, the largest amphibious invasion in history. 155,000 Allied troops landed on the beaches of Normandy. It was D-Day. It would help liberate France from Germany. Our story is of another D-Day. Our D stands for Dennis. Our story is of a boy called Dennis Oneill and his brother Terence.
The boys had been removed from their parents' care on a place of safety order because of neglect. Their father had previously been imprisoned and their mother given a police caution for neglecting the children. They became the responsibility of Newport Council. The children were Roman Catholic. They were originally placed with a foster carer in Herefordshire, she being the nearest Roman Catholic carer available. However, she fell ill, and the children were then placed, out of urgency, outside of South Wales. The boys ended up at Bank Farm in Minsterley, Shropshire. Their new carers were...
Mr. Goff, Mr. Reginald Goff, Mr. Goff, farmer.
Esther, Mrs. Goff, Mrs. Esther Goff, wife of Mr. Goff, farmer.
Because of time pressures and staff shortages, the usual 22 staff in Newport had been reduced to just 8. Well, there was a war on. The usual checks were missed or delayed. For instance, there had been a conviction.
Bring that up, would you? Typical. Got faults, we all have. Assault, they called it. I was 17 and a half. Still in short trousers, a mere boy. Throw that in my face, would you? I'm a farmer now. Water under the bridge. Man now. Married man now. Farmer.
Ah, yes, the marriage. Not all plain sailing?
Damned impertinence. Better answer him, woman.
It's true. I did. I sought a separation order. A year into our marriage. The grounds for the separation. Persistent cruelty.
But she came back. Knew her duty. Knew her place. By my side, by her man's side.
So, Dennis and Terence had found their new home. And their new parents.
Hello, boys. You look tired. Mrs. Goff. Mrs. Goff. Mr. Goff, the boys are here.
Well, they look a pair, don't they?
Can't be easy for them. Look at them.
Life's not easy for any of us.
Come on, boys. Smile. Here, sit down. Take the weight.
You'll do no such thing. They can stand. Earn the right. Work for the right. Not at Billy Butlin's now. It's a farm, not a holiday camp. You don't see no posh pool, do you?
It's the farm life for you now, boys.
Working farm. Hard working farm. 70 acres. We've got some sheep. We've got cows. We have got cows. They take some work. They're worth something. Worth looking after.
They'll be fine.
Yeah. You knuckle down. Do as you're told. Keep your mouth shut. Pull your weight and we'll get on. Get on champion. Am I right, Mrs. Goff?
You are right, Mr. Goff. Mr. Goff is always right. Best you remember that.
Listen to your betters, them that knows. I'm always right about this house, this farm. You know what's good for me. You'll do as you're told. You'll not question, you'll not chat back. We'll get on. Get on champion. Won't we, Mrs. Goff?
Champion.
But you either me. You answer back. You don't pull your weight. You'll feel my hand, my fist, my belt, or whatever else lies by. I'll stripe you so hard, so help me God, you'll not cross me again.
Which one's which? Which one's Dennis? Which one's Terence? Go on now. Don't make me guess.
Cat got your tongue?
They're just a bit shy, that's all.
Damned impudence, lack of respect, I'll not have it. Answer Mrs. Goff's question. Has cat got your ears? Answer!
So, Dennis and Terence had found their new parents and their new home. The farm was bare, comfortless and isolated. 7 months later, Dennis would be dead. He would suffer a heart attack following a brutal beating to his chest and back with a stick by Reginald Goff. Dennis had septic ulcers on his feet and severely chapped legs. The physical abuse was just piled on top of the neglect. Neither child ever got a proper meal at the farm.
Thanks him right, Mr. Goff. Just 2 slices of bread and marge.
They've got to learn respect. Think they can come here and get best butter? What's that teaching them? But note. They've got to learn like I learned. It's hard. Life's hard.
But just 2 slices of bread and marge for every meal?
Every meal. They've got to learn. That's one day you'll learn to stop questioning me.
When Dennis Oneill died, he was 2 months shy of his 13th birthday. He weighed 4 stone. His stomach was empty. He was so undernourished, he had sucked cows' udders for milk.
The subsequent inquiry into Dennis's death reported, deprived of food, he stood the night before he died watching other people eat a meal. Those other people were the Goffs. Esther, Mrs. Goff. Reginald, Mr. Goff. Farmer.
Come on, you two! I'm not Billy Butlin! No red coats here! This is no holiday or no holiday camp. Don't see no chalets or paddling pools. Just see cattle, sheep and land. Land to tend. This is a farm, a working farm. I don't care if it is cold, dark and 4 in the morning. You're going to help me with them cattle. They don't milk themselves. School? School don't teach you nothing. Life, work. Them's your teachers now. Mrs. Goff can get onto them for you. Come on to working farm. Work. Get up.
Not a word to school, mind.
Get up.
Or anyone in the village, mind.
Get up now.
I said the boys have settled in really well. We've grown very fond of them.
I'll catch you up.
They're 2 very good boys. Yeah, part of the family, really.
Lazy little bastards.
Can hardly remember life before 'em. Can't imagine life without 'em.
Nobody from Newport visited, telephoned or wrote. They assumed Shropshire were keeping an eye on the boys.
Nobody from Shropshire visited, telephoned or wrote. They assumed Newport were keeping an eye on the boys.
Mr. Goff is not happy with your attitude, boys. We warned you. So from now on, Mr. Goff says it's just 1 slice of bread and marge for breakfast, dinner and tea. And he wants you to book your ideas up. Just book them up. Just don't upset him. Just book them up.
Have you told the good-for-nothing beggars?
Just 1 slice and that's it.
And from now on, you can watch while I have my tea.
Lamb and potatoes?
Perfect. No lamb better than Shropshire lamb. That's a fact.
Fact.
No Shropshire lamb better than our lamb. That's a fact.
Fact.
The fact was that by now physical abuse had been added to the neglect and cruelty. The belt, the animal whip, the stick.
It's not working. I will not be so disabused in my own house. They need stripes, Mrs. Goff. Stripes!
Stripes!
Stripes were awarded to each boy for particular failings. Not replying, disrespect, rolling their eyes, not working hard enough on the farm, complaining or questioning, if a lamb went missing, if a cow's milk was down. A stripe was
Sometimes Dennis got 120 stripes a day.
No, Dennis. You've wet the bed again. Let's see if we can...
He's done what?
There's a dreadful mess again.
20 stripes, toe rag. When them sheets fresh?
First of the month.
30!
Come December, the weather worsened. Dennis and Terence only attended school intermittently. Dennis did not attend at all in December. Nobody questioned why.
Newport then made its first visit. It was by an administrative assistant. Newport was paying a higher level of foster care fees than Shropshire. Shropshire was worried this was unfair to their foster carers, so an admin assistant, Mrs. Edwards, went to Shropshire to see if they could sort out the rates. While there, Mrs. Edwards was asked to pop in and see the boys.
Now, you'll pay her respect.
You're well looked after. Fact.
You're well fed.
Fact.
Mr. and Mrs. Goff do their best for us. Couldn't ask for more.
Fact.
That's what you'll say, isn't it?
Fact. You're well.
Isn't it?
Answer.
Mrs. Edwards thought the place a bit isolated. She only saw the children in presence of Esther Goff.
Mrs. Edwards, Mrs. Goff. Mr. Goff is very sorry not to be here. He's tending the farm. It is. You're right. You are so right. Such hard work. He works hard. Very hard. All the hours God sends and then 2 or 3 more. Hard work. Farm.
Mrs. Edwards did notice that Dennis looked ill and frightened, answered questions extremely nervously, and did not look up when answering. She noticed little affection for the children. Before leaving...
Yes, Dennis hasn't been well. He does look ill, doesn't he? We thought that. Yes, we will, yes. First thing Monday morning, we'll whip him round the doctor's. He's very good, our doctor. He's been here years. Yes, you have impressed on us several times to get Dennis seen to, and yes, we will. First thing, just to put your mind at, well, our minds at peace. Yes, of course. Well, mind how you go, and you have a safe journey back to Newport.
The National Health Service would be created the following year. When Mrs. Edwards left Bank Farm in Minsterley, Shropshire, if you were sick, you'd need insurance. If you needed the doctor, you needed money. You had to pay for it.
Doctors have got to see people that are sick. He's not sick. His laziness is what's sickening. I'll not pay. No insurance, no doctor. Good money after bed, that's what that'll be. I'm sick. Sick to the stomach. Sick to the stomach with a pair of them. 30 stripes each.
On her return to Newport, Mrs. Edwards advised the children be removed immediately. She was asked to put it in writing. After all, she was only an administrative assistant in the finance section. But it was Christmas, and although Mrs. Edwards returned to Newport on 20th of December, she did not submit her report until the 30th of December. Given that it had taken her 10 days to file her report, it was not thought that urgent after all. After all, she was only an administrative assistant in the finance section. After all, it was the social worker's job to decide on matters like this. It was put to one side for the social worker to deal with once back from annual leave. The worker returned to work on the 10th of January. Dennis died on the 9th of January 1945, over 75 years ago.
The cruelty he suffered in the last days was unthinkable. Stripped naked, he was tied with rope to a bench and beaten with a stick until his legs were blue and swollen, and he was unable to stand. He was then locked in a cubbyhole.
His death prompted the first ever public inquiry into the death of a child in care. Reginald Goff was sentenced to 6 years for manslaughter. Following a public outcry, he was resentenced, receiving 10 years for murder.
Esther Goff was sentenced to 6 months for, the charge said, exposing the said child in a manner likely to cause unnecessary injury to health.
Although physical harm caused his death, Dennis had always lived with neglect. His parents neglected him. His foster carers neglected and abused him. He knew nothing else. He didn't know any different. Dennis and his brother Terence were 2 boys who knew nothing else. It may have been a different age. There was a war on, after all. And the Goffs certainly would not have been approved today without proper checks. But the same questions still exist.
Who would listen to the children? Who would believe the children? And what could they say anyway? What can you say when all around you is hopelessness? Where do you begin to hope?